Brothers and sisters, can you please, everybody please move forward. We'll start the program, inshallah. Before we start, I just want to make one quick announcement also. So during the Ramadan, we want to decorate the masjid quite a bit. So if you have any artwork that you want to would like to display, if you are the artist, that's great. We'll display your art here in different places in the masjid. But if you have any artwork, something great, something nice, please contact Sister Zara. The flyer is on Chase, I mean not Chase, on the website, on MCNJ website. So you can get there or just talk to me afterwards. So in few minutes, we'll inshallah just get started.
Assalamu alaikum. Is this working? Oh, here we go. Okay, we'll just pass it around. Bismillah walhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulullahi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Assalamu alaikum. You see, I have to give you time to respond. People never do that, right? They always say assalamu alaikum and then they get right into it. So my name is Liat. I am the operations director for CAIR New Jersey. And we are here to present Know Your Rights, specifically tailored to immigration and ICE, given all the new policy changes.
Assalamu alaikum. In the name of the most magnificent, my name is Michael Musa Obregon. I'm a lawyer in New York, a criminal, federal, and immigration lawyer. And we're going to be talking to you about how to deal with any encounters that anyone may have with law enforcement and ICE, should that ever happen. And we're going to, at the end of this, I think everyone's going to feel very, very knowledgeable about how to deal with these situations.
Okay, so we have some information at the table in the back. The sister section should also have some information that we brought down as well that could be distributed. If it's not enough, please send a brother up to collect some more. But we have Know Your Rights guides. We have a one-pager document, front and back, that basically wraps up all this stuff. Really good to take if you're interested or just need on the go. So this project is co-sponsored by the New Jersey State Bar Foundation and made possible through funding from the IELTA Fund of the Bar of New Jersey. This is also co-sponsored by the New Jersey Muslim Lawyers Association, NJMLA. CAIR New Jersey. So before we get into the beef of the Know Your Rights, what is CAIR New Jersey? Many of you may already know CAIR New Jersey, right? The beef of our work, the bread and butter of our work is free legal services for discrimination. So we actually do not handle immigration cases, right? Oh, my visa's taken too long, USCIS didn't get back to me yet. We don't do that. We do discrimination in the workplace, in school, First Amendment rights, travel issues, FBI is trying to contact you, those things. But we do more than the legal work too. Our mission is threefold: to enhance the understanding of Islam, to promote justice, and to empower American Muslims. The Islamophobia Network is something that CAIR New Jersey and the CAIR Network exists to combat. At this time, a few years ago, it was found through CAIR's research that $1.5 billion was funneled through organizations like the Middle East Forum. They have this great name that sounds very legitimate. Okay. So $1.5 billion flew into organizations like the Middle East Forum. Wow, that sounds legitimate, right? Not a single Muslim involved in that group. And many groups like it, right? And they seek to slander Islam and Muslims. And CAIR is on the front lines in media trying to combat that. We challenge Islamophobia every day, right? There's different types of problems. You have ignorance and misunderstanding. You know, that requires education. Fear and hatred, that might require some different approaches like media or community involvement. Then you have outright discrimination, civil rights abuse, or violence, right? All of these types of problems have different approaches, have different responses. Every community needs, or every Muslim community needs, masajid, the schools, the charities, businesses, and an institution that protects them. That is CAIR's place and role in the community. Our civil rights work. CAIR New Jersey's Civil Rights and Legal Department counsels, mediates, and advocates on behalf of Muslims and others who have experienced religious discrimination, defamation, job discrimination, or hate crimes. We also do government affairs work, right? So it's not just the legal stuff, but we conduct and organize lobbying efforts on issues related to Islam and Muslims. These are examples of some of our advocacy that you can join us with. Every year we go to Trenton. Every year we go to Washington, D.C. We also have media work, so press releases, press conferences, interviews, op-eds, television appearances. Something happened to Muslims, something happened about Muslims or Islam in our area. The reporters are writing a story on it now. They need information now. Who's going to respond? Who's going to make sure that the Muslim voice is heard? Who's going to make sure that the Muslims tell their own stories? There's value in this, and this is what we also do besides the legal work. So we're going to get into the Know Your Rights, and before we get into the beef of it, we do have a disclaimer. The following information shared in this presentation is not legal advice. While we make every effort to ensure that the information provided is accurate and up to date, laws frequently change and are subject to interpretation. Please consult with an authorized immigration attorney or DOJ accredited representative if you have any specific questions. So this is important. This is not legal advice. So before we get into ICE and immigration, we have some information from our general presentation. When we do Know Your Rights in the community, we're talking about employment and traveling and hate crimes and everything broadly, right? Today is specifically about ICE authorities and immigration. But tangentially related to that is law enforcement. Law enforcement officers must have a warrant to enter your home. We're talking about state police, sheriff deputies, municipal police, right? Unless there's an emergency situation. If someone called and said they're having a heart attack, the police are coming in, right? They have to. But you have the right to have a lawyer present when speaking with law enforcement officials, or if you have been detained. You also have the right to remain silent. From any movie or TV show, we know you have the right to remain silent. If you've seen any TV show or movie, you know you have the right to remain silent. But people don't use it, subhanAllah. People actually don't use it, and that's because there's high anxiety, high emotions when this is happening. Fear, what's going to happen? Am I in trouble, right? And people start talking. Remember, you have the right to remain silent because lying to a law enforcement agent can be a federal crime, punishable by fines or imprisonment. You don't want to do that. The more you speak, even if you didn't do anything wrong, can alert their suspicion. They may want to detain you. They may want to detain you longer. They may think that you're suspicious. Or if you accidentally lie because your heart is pounding so fast, that's going to cause a problem. What do you do when you're contacted by the FBI? This happened a lot after 9/11 to our community. This happened again after the Gaza genocide started, and we had Zionists weaponizing government resources, saying, this person posted a verse from the Quran, an ayah from the Quran, and it mentions the word al-zalimin, the wrongdoers. Okay, so this person didn't even put any commentary whatsoever. Yet Zionist reports them to the FBI. The FBI has a responsibility to go fishing with that. They cast their line. They go fishing. They see, okay, what can we get? Even though there's no crime with that, someone else saying Israel is a terrorist state. That is their protected free speech, if they so wish to say, right? But we have countless instances where these people are reported to the FBI. Then the FBI wants to speak to them. We say, don't speak to them at all. Do not speak to them at all. They will try different intimidation tactics with you. They'll say, well, if so-and-so doesn't want to talk, we'll just keep the case open. What case? There is no case. Go ahead, keep it open. Nothing's going to happen, right? They try to intimidate you. One Rutgers student actually met with the FBI before he connected with us. And that FBI agent, after asking inappropriate questions and his views on Islam, he said, don't tell your parents that we had this meeting. Why? Sorry? I don't know what's making this static. I think it's just how the microphone is. So the FBI agent told the student, don't tell your parents about this meeting. Why? That's a red flag. That's weird. So do not speak to FBI agents. You have the right to consult with an attorney first. Your attorney can respond on your behalf to set up an interview. So you could even retain CAIR New Jersey for this purpose. I'm not going to talk to you unless my attorney, CAIR New Jersey, is present, right? Most of the time they'll say, oh, I'm not interested. I'm not really, they're not going to be interested because there was no crime, and they'll leave you alone from there. If they really are interested, okay, then let's have that meeting with an attorney present. You are not required to allow an FBI agent, just like law enforcement, into your home without a warrant. Ask to see the warrant and make sure it's signed by a judge. If the FBI agent has a warrant for your arrest, you have the right to see the warrant. You must go with the FBI agent, obviously, if they do have a valid warrant. But again, you don't have to answer questions until you consult an attorney. So just very basically, broadly, not sure how I... Yeah, I'm not sure. There's a lot of static. But if you're stopped on the street by law enforcement, you must identify yourself. You don't have to answer further questions, right? Am I being detained? That means you're not being arrested, but you have to stay there with them. They're suspicious. They think a crime was committed. They're investigating something, right? So you got to stay with them while they're detaining you. But if they say, no, you're free to go, I'm not detaining you, you can leave. You do not need to answer questions. You can ask if you're under arrest. If you're under arrest, obviously you're going to be booked and you're going to be brought to jail. But if you're just being detained, that means they're not charging you with anything at that moment. It's important to ask that question if they ask you questions. You don't need to answer questions. In your car, keep your hands where they are visible. Do not make any sudden movements, right? Put them on the steering wheel. You must produce your license, registration, and proof of insurance if asked in New Jersey, and they always ask. If arrested or taken to a police station, you have a right to a lawyer and a phone call, right, from all the movies and TV shows. So you got that phone call. And if you're mistreated, this is the most important point. If you're mistreated, do not resist or fight with any police officers. Even if they're oppressing you, even if they punched you in the face, even if they did something to you, you don't want to resist or fight back because they have a gun, you don't. They have the backing of the law, you don't, right? Even if, let's say you fight back, they were wrong, what are they going to do? They might harm you more. That might open you to more harm in the short term. Even if they pay the consequences later, right? Even if justice is established later for what they did, you don't want to invite more harm in the short term. So what you should do is note their identification numbers, their name, or identifying characteristics. Are we dealing with a man, a woman? What kind of hair do they have? What is their ethnicity? How tall are they? Right? That's important to know. As an airline passenger, if you believe you've been treated in a discriminatory manner by an airport, again, similarly, note the name, the ID number, or contact information, and any witnesses. So someone was there and they saw what happened, get their contact info. If another passenger is harassing you on an airplane, contact the attendant and ask to be moved. It's just like in the workplace. If a coworker is harassing you repeatedly, you don't sue the coworker. The employer is liable to fix the situation. If you're constantly subjected to advanced screening or prevented from flying, file a complaint with DHS. Use the processes that they have created. Inclusion on the no-fly list prevents individuals from flying at all. If you can board an airplane, even after extensive screening, they hold you for 6 hours, like we've seen, and well, you still got on a plane, you're not on the no-fly list. You might be on this terror watch list that CAIR has looked into. There's almost 2 million names on it. More than 95% of them are Muslim and or Arab names. About 300,000 of the names are just different variants of Muhammad as the first name, last name, and different spellings, okay? So CAIR is combating that watch list now. It is not fully abolished, but there was a unanimous court decision that favored CAIR over the FBI 9-0 in the Supreme Court of the United States. So we're going to get into ICE.
One, two. Okay. All right. So everything Diaz said just now has to do with law enforcement, not immigration. A lot of it. So now we're going to talk about immigration and what the processes are, et cetera, et cetera. If you encounter immigration because they come to your house or your business or your place or on the street, you have a bunch of rights. So the first right you have is to pay attention to the situation and make sure that you take the following steps. The first thing you have to do is be alert and don't panic, and realize that you're in a physical space. You have to figure out how you're going to be dealing with the agent or the person that comes in. If they're outside your house, they can stay outside the house, and they don't have to come in unless they have something called a judicial warrant. So there's two kinds of warrants that they can have. A judicial warrant is the only one that allows them to come into your house or your place of business, and that is a piece of paper that they must show you, and you can say, do you have a judge's warrant? If the answer is no, you don't open the door. You don't let them in. You don't open it even a crack. You can basically conduct, and this is how it's done professionally by all kinds of people that know how to deal with the police or immigration. You can conduct the entire conversation from outside. They can stay outside and you can stay inside. There's nothing wrong with that. I know as Muslims we try to be hospitable, we try to be respectful. There's a tendency to allow people to come in. You don't have to do that, and you shouldn't do that. If they're coming in because they're looking for someone, or they're coming in because they're looking for you, there are rules that have to be followed. Now, I have personally taken calls when clients have called me. I have the police at my door. I have immigration on my door. I have the FBI on my door. What do I do? So the first thing to do is to try to put in a block between you and the agents. And the best block that you can put in is a lawyer. Why is that? Because they must deal with a lawyer. They do not have to deal with you if you have a lawyer. As a matter of fact, they cannot deal with you if you have a lawyer. So what that means is that if you have the name of a lawyer and a telephone number of a lawyer, they can address all of their questions to a lawyer. And we have, over the years, 34 years, we have stopped all kinds of investigations by just using that terminology. I have a lawyer, this is his number, you can call him. So when you leave tonight, find the name of a lawyer and a telephone number for a lawyer. This will go a long way to stopping any negative, prejudicial, dangerous types of situations when you deal with any law enforcement. In America, unlike a lot of other countries, you have a right not to talk to the police. You have a right not to talk to ICE. You have the right not to talk to the FBI. They will try to isolate you and try to make you feel that you don't need a lawyer. How many times have I had cases where someone's accused of a homicide, a murder case, and they tell them you don't need a lawyer? And that's obviously not true. So when you have a lawyer, the lawyer speaks for you. I have received calls at 2 in the morning, 4 in the morning, where I have told my clients, let me speak to them through the speakerphone. And they put the speakerphone and I said, I am the lawyer for this family. How can I help you? When I do that, now they know that everything has to be correct and on the up and up. What that means is that they must follow the rules because they know somebody's watching. And now they know that they can't lie about the things that they might say. So if they have a warrant, they have to tell me that there's a warrant. They cannot lie about a warrant. We've had cases where they lied about a warrant and they make people feel that they had a warrant when they didn't have a warrant. So if there's a warrant, they can slide it underneath the door. If there's no warrant, they cannot come. If there's no judicial warrant that's assigned by a judge, they must leave. They must wait outside. Now, in a situation like that, what do? Well, they can leave. They're not going to stay there for 3 hours. They're not going to stay there for a day. They're going to eventually have to leave. And that gives you enough time to arrange whatever you have to arrange, to investigate the case, et cetera, et cetera. Now, we don't mean to scare you or make you think that immigration or other law enforcement is going to be coming to everyone's house. That's not what this is about. But in the case that they do, how do you handle it? So let's say, so the reasons why they come out in this environment is because they're looking for people that have immigration orders of removal, that's deportation orders. Rarely do they come only to try to see if someone is illegally living in the house, although that could be as well. So in your first encounter with law enforcement, the most important thing to do is to know that you can put a block and postpone the meeting. Unless they're there to arrest you, the meeting must be adjourned. The meeting must be postponed to a later date. And that's the advantage of having a lawyer. Now, when you have a lawyer, you also have to have the name and you have to have the telephone number. They're not gonna, you cannot say, I have a lawyer, and then they say, who's your lawyer? And I say, I don't have a lawyer, I don't know the name. No, you have to have in your wallet the name of a lawyer and a telephone number, and hopefully, obviously, a relationship with that lawyer, whoever that lawyer is, so that that lawyer knows you and you know that lawyer, and you can call that lawyer day or night when there's some type of emergency. When there is that type of situation, they are stopped from doing that investigation. The only way, and this applies to all kinds of scenarios with all kinds of law enforcement, whether it's the police, the FBI, ATF,